when it comes to choosing which product should we go for, whether we are investing in one of the partnership or whether we are taking the financing from the institution, there are always a number of things we need to look at. And I think the most important is obviously Sharia compliance of the product. Who are the people on the board? How much trust do we have in the people who serve? Organization itself, what do we see? Are they advocates? Are they activists for Islamic finance? Do we see them practicing what they're preaching? So some of these obvious external things that create a trust in the people who work, mission of this organization, Sharia board, board of directors, staff, support of the community, the willingness to change, improve, consult. All of these things will give us the positive signals when we are engaging in organization, whether we engage as investors or consumers who we take financing product. So rule of thumb is that really we look at who are we dealing with before we look at anything else. Sometimes when we look the people who are doing their best and they are surrounded with the best people, trustworthy, we don't necessarily, if we are not experts, we don't really have to know every single detail. Just like anything in Islam in general, we don't engage in every single thing in the details. Life is sometimes busy, and financial contracts and transactions can be complex. So for a average person, especially if they are taking finance, they should look and consult with the people of fatwa, people of knowledge. They should look at the organization, they're standing in the community in order to make that judgment. And if they are investors, of course, they should take that same approach, get more financial advice, and follow the same. If they have an aptitude to investigate more, deeper, and understand how these who is funding organization, how that relationship is managed, how the relationship with the customer is managed, what are the details of the contracts, if they have friends and the lawyers and the scholars and advisors who can look at the bits and pieces of the contracts, how the ownership is transferred, what about conditions in the contract, is it genuine, is it real, is it just changing the words, why these conditions are there. Depends of your ability to x-ray this contract. That's how much you should investigate. It is very rare that we have ability and time and so on to do these sorts of things. Sometimes you might ask independent people, sometimes those that you know that are engaged, and so on. So this very much depends, but I would say as the first thing is the trust regarding people that are in the organization, that in who they engage with, who they work with, and then we go up to the level of our understanding of these transactions. We go deeper into this. So based on that, we will then make a judgment. Is this, and at the end of the day, we will probably again come into a situation where anything in Islam, some people say yes, some people no, especially in the things like financial contracts. You might have two people look at the same documents. One will say yes, one will say no, based on their understanding and so on. So that is fine as long as we engage people we normally engage in terms of fatwa and advice and consulting and so on. Or if we are confident in terms of our knowledge, it is important to understand that there are differences of opinion, but as long as you trust people that they are doing their best and you are trying your best, inshallah, and you follow best advice and the scholars in this area, inshallah, you should be fine.